boys and girls. So our interactive read aloud today is going to be this book called Mother Bruce. You may have seen this book before. The author of our story is Ryan Higgins. And if you take a look at the front cover, you can see where our author had goose written and then crossed it off. You may have heard of Mother Goose before. This is a story called Mother Bruce. This is the back cover. Oftentimes, the author will write a little blurb on the back about the story. So the blurb says, Bruce's dinner recipe calls for eggs. But when the eggs call back, this grumpy bear is in for an unwelcome surprise. So let's open up Mother Bruce. Mother Bruce. You might have noticed that I have some little tape in my book. This book was so loved by my first graders that it has some little tears in it, but it's such a great book, I thought I'm just going to tape it up. I hope you enjoy it too. Here's our title page, Mother Bruce, written by Ryan T. Higgins. Here's the dedication page, and it says, For Griffin, the silliest goose I know. Bruce was a bear who lived all by himself. He was a grump. He did not like sunny days. He did not like rain. He did not like cute little animals. Bruce only liked one thing, eggs. He collected them from all over the forest. Good morning, Mrs. Sparrow. See his basket of eggs? But Bruce didn't eat eggs raw like other bears. Instead, he cooked them into fancy recipes that he found on the internet. One day, Bruce came across a recipe for hard-boiled goose eggs drizzled with honey salmon sauce. So he went out to get the ingredients. First, he caught the salmon. Then he collected honey from a local beehive. He liked to support local business, you see. Last, he went to Mrs. Goose's nest to pay her a visit. Are these eggs free-range organic? At home, Bruce prepared the eggs for hard boiling. But the fire in his stove fizzled, so he went out to get more wood. When Bruce came back, he was met with an unwelcome surprise. Mama! Bruce became the victim of mistaken identity. Bruce wanted hard-boiled eggs, not goslings. He supposed he could settle for buttered goslings on toast, but for some reason, he lost his appetite. Bruce scooped up the little geese and stomped back to their nest, only to find Mrs. Goose had flown south early. Be back in April. Here's a speech bubble. I will have to ask Mrs. Goose about her return policy. I think the author, Ryan Higgins, added speech bubbles to the text to make this book funny for the readers. This part made me smile. Bruce left the goslings there anyway and went back home. but he was followed. Bruce was very stern and said things like, "Go away," and "I'm not your mother," and also, "I liked you better when you were eggs." I think Bruce is getting frustrated. I think this because he's yelling at the goslings, and the author used exclamation points. What are you thinking? And why are you thinking that? Bruce could take it no longer and became extra grumpy with them. Roar! They look so sad, don't they? It didn't work. Goslings always follow their mother, even if she is a he and he is a bear. Mama! There they are, following him. Look at his grumpy face. Bruce was stuck with them. He tried to make the best of it. It was hard work. Blah! Ew! Yuck! Look down here, they're all sleeping. They're so tired. As the seasons passed, Bruce watched the pesky goslings grow older. Annoying baby geese, stubborn teenage geese, boring adult geese. Then one fall afternoon, he saw other goose families flying south. Finally, he'd be rid of those geese and he could take a long winter nap. Bruce explained migration. But they didn't listen. Bruce needed the geese to leave, so he got creative. Look at that illustration. It's pretty funny. He's got a slingshot, and the geese have their goggles and hats on and their scarves like they're ready to go. Nothing worked. The geese would not leave Bruce. So Bruce decided to pack some bags and take his geese into town. They boarded a bus. And migrated to Miami. Now every winter, Bruce and his geese head south together. They laze about at the beach in tacky shirts, sipping ice-cold lemonade, while Bruce dreams of new recipes that don't hatch. Mama? You see, here's one of the geese and a little turtle. When we read a fiction story, it usually has a problem, and somehow the problem gets taken care of. Okay, let's talk about how the characters solve the problem in this book. What was the problem, and how did it get solved? I'll want you to answer that question in your seesaw activity. What was the problem of the story, and how did it get solved? I hope you enjoyed Mother Bruce. And we'll read some other books about Bruce written by Ryan T. Higgins at another time.